Hello and welcome to our channel where we bring you some of the most beloved and classic folk stories. Today's story is The Town Mouse and the Country Mouse, a timeless fable about two mice who have very different lifestyles.
This story teaches us an important lesson about contentment and appreciating what we have. It's a story that has been enjoyed by generations, and we're excited to share it with you today. So, sit back, relax, and let's begin the story of The Town Mouse and the Country Mouse.
Once upon a time, there were two mice who were cousins. One lived in the city and the other in the countryside. They were both very fond of each other and enjoyed each other's company whenever they got the chance to meet. One day, the country mouse received an invitation from his cousin to come and visit him in the city. The country mouse was very excited and could not wait to see what city life was like. So, he set out on a journey to the city to visit his cousin. When he arrived, he was amazed at what he saw. The city was a bustling, noisy place, full of people and activity. There were tall buildings everywhere, and the streets were full of cars and other vehicles. The city mouse took his cousin on a tour of the city, showing him all the sights and sounds. The country mouse was amazed by everything he saw. He had never seen anything like it before. The city mouse took him to the finest restaurants and cafes, where they enjoyed the most delicious food and drink. The country mouse was impressed by the variety of food and drink that was available in the city. But, as the night wore on, the country mouse began to feel a little uneasy. The noise and bustle of the city were starting to get to him. He was used to the quiet, peaceful life of the countryside, where he could wander freely through the fields and enjoy the simple pleasures of life. The city mouse noticed his cousin's unease and tried to reassure him. He told him that the city was a great place to live, full of opportunities and excitement. But the country mouse was not convinced. He missed the quiet life of the countryside. The next day, the city mouse took his cousin on a tour of the city's famous landmarks. They visited museums, art galleries, and even went to the theater. The country mouse was amazed by everything he saw, but he still felt uneasy. He longed for the peace and quiet of his home in the countryside. That night, the two mice sat down to eat a meal together. The city mouse had prepared a feast, with all kinds of delicious food and drink. But as they were eating, the country mouse heard a loud noise outside. He jumped up in fright, not knowing what was happening. The city mouse told him not to worry, that it was just a parade passing by. But the country mouse was too scared to stay. He ran for cover under the nearest piece of furniture. The city mouse realized then that his cousin was not cut out for city life. He apologized for not realizing earlier and suggested that they go back to the countryside. The country mouse agreed, happy to be returning home. They set off on the journey back to the countryside. Along the way, the country mouse told his cousin how much he appreciated the time they had spent together, but that he preferred the quiet life of the countryside. The city mouse understood and agreed that there was no place like home. They arrived back at the countryside, and the country mouse was happy to be back in his own familiar surroundings. From then on, the two mice remained close friends. The city mouse would visit his cousin from time to time, and the country mouse would return the favor. But each mouse knew that their true home was where they felt most comfortable. The story of the town mouse and the country mouse teaches us that there is value in both city and countryside living. Each has its own unique charms and attractions. But, ultimately, what matters most is finding the place where we feel most at home and comfortable. For the country mouse, that was the peaceful, quiet life of the countryside, where he could enjoy the simple pleasures of life. For the city mouse, it was the hustle and bustle of the city, with all